Hello everybody, it is your boy Nano back at it with another video. In today's video, I put apart a $1,000 64 gigabytes computer list. If you guys want to buy it, it's going to be in the description. If you guys want to make any changes, then you can be free to do that. And please, if you guys want, leave a like, subscribe, and put on your notifications so you always get notified whenever I put a new video on. And yeah, guys, let's get started. So for the CPU, I did decide to go with this AMD Ryzen 5 1600. It is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU. Its base clock is at 3.2 gigahertz, and its boost clock is at 3.6 gigahertz. It is on the 12 nanometer. And yeah, this is a really good CPU for $85. For a budget of 500, this can definitely go miles for you, and it's definitely gonna hold up with the fan that it includes, because it's free. It comes with thermal paste and everything, and it's a pretty good beefy one, but you cannot really overclock on that. So if you want to overclock, then definitely try to go with an AIO for like one of the cheapest ones from Roswell, and they're like $70 and for 240 millimeter, and it's really good. It's really cheap, and I mean, this is really good, really cheap, and really reliable, because lots of YouTubers like using that CPU on their budget builds. So for the motherboard, I decided to go with this Gigabyte B450 Aorus Micro ATX just because it is the cheapest motherboard that can support 64 gigs of RAM, and it will definitely support the latency of my RAM, and it's just pretty good. And it has like your standard ports as it says your standard USB ports as USB 2.0, 3.0, and 3.10, and it has your HDMI cables, your HDMI port, I'm sorry, and it has your display ports, which is good. And yeah, it's really simple. It supports 64, so if you want to change the RAM that I decided, you're fine, but anything over 64 will not be compatible. So for the memory, I decided to go with four of these G.Skill Ripjaws V16s. These RAMs are 1x16, so I'm gonna need to have four of these, which is good, and it's clocked at 3600 megahertz, which is really fast. It's the fastest that the motherboard can handle, and for $76 is really good for the price. And I just forgot to say that the motherboard's $86 if you didn't see that, but yeah, it's $86 for the memory. I mean for the motherboard, and the memory is $76, and you have to multiply that by 4, which is about that is $272. So for the storage, I decided to go with an SSD. Not just an SSD, I decided to go with a hard drive, but for the SSD, I decided to go with this Team MS30. Is a 512 gig M.2 SSD. It's really fast, and it's $62. And if I wanted to go with a SATA, probably would have costed more money. But I mean, you can't really lie. This looks pretty good, and it's pretty cheap for $63. And it has a 3-year warranty, which is good. And yeah, it's just pretty cheap. It's reliable. If you want to boot up and get some games on there, it's gonna be fine. Sorry. So for the hard drive, I decided to go with a Seagate Barracuda Compu 2 terabyte, 7200 RPM, just because of the price of $51. Is really fast, and it has a lot of storage, which means I could store many things that I want, from like games and a couple applications that I don't really need to run that fast. But I mean, it's really cheap, pretty good, and it's $51 prime shipping. But yeah, it's pretty cheap, and it's very well. I definitely recommend buying this one if you're going for a hard drive, because 1 terabytes definitely go for $40, and this is just $11 more for 1 extra terabyte. Okay, so for the video card, sorry, I just had to go with this EVGA GeForce RTX 2060. This is a 6 gig GDDR6, and is core clock is let me just check that. I'm sorry. Core clock 1365 megahertz, and boost clock is 1680 megahertz, which is pretty good if you want to overclock that. It's definitely gonna be able to overclock. And yeah, it supports G-Sync, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's a two fan, so it's gonna be easier for overclocking. It's a pretty small card, and it has a pretty good look, and it has a metal backplate, and it's not that expensive for the price of $300. If you want, like 2060s are definitely going for those prices, but that's one of the parts that I really recommend going for. So for the case, to house all of this, I decided to go with this NZXT H510 ATX mid tower case. I decided to go with this case because it definitely it looks just like all the other parts, because all the other parts here are black and red because of the RAM is they're all red and stuff, and this has a stint of red, and it's just pretty good, and it's ATX, which definitely be able to house our micro ATX board, and it's gonna be good for cable management because it has a power supply shroud, and it has two fans, which is gonna keep our thermals good and like low and not gonna be overheating and everything. So for the power supply, finally to turn the system on, I decided to go with this EVGA 600 watt 80 plus white certified ATX power supply. I decided to go with this power supply just because of the price of $44. It's really cheap, and 600 watts is definitely enough to power this system with ease, and definitely can add another graphics card if you want SLI, and will definitely support another CPU. And yeah, it's just really cheap for $45. Is a pretty normal standard case, but only thing I don't like about it is it has ketchup and mustard cables, but if you're really not looking for aesthetic, it doesn't really matter. But if you're really looking for aesthetic, then definitely I recommend going for a little bit more of an expensive power supply instead of this one, just because of the price. I mean, you might not trust it, but it's from EVGA and it's 80 plus white. But I just wanted to mention that some people might not like the ketchup and mustard cables. And yeah, guys, just to finish the build off, it is $1,003. We're just $3 over budget because the CPU here is $10 more expensive than the placeholder because I could not find it in here. So yeah, and I almost forgot to say that the case is $70. So yeah, guys, this is gonna be the another video. If you if you still haven't liked and subscribed to the YouTube channel, then it will be massively appreciated. Just don't forget to join my Discord, follow me on all my social medias, and yeah, guys, I'll see you tomorrow on my next video. Peace.